Hello, 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 Stampin Friends. Hello and good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on into the craft room with Caron. Welcome to Make It Monday, and tonight we are going to be playing with an easel card. And I got the idea for this easel card from Stampin Up Demonstrator, Terry Pocock. Hopefully I didn't butcher her name too much. Stampingmagic.com, and this is going to be from her June 2020 blog where I came across the image on Pinterest. Again, guys, welcome. I am Caron Bailey. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin Up, and I am happy to be in my craft space with you today, sharing with you a little fun, a little creativity, and just a little bit of quality me time with a fellow crafter. Sit back, relax, enjoy, and if you have any of the products that I'm using tonight, and even if you don't have any of the products, just keep the idea in mind, and let's relax and have a little bit of fun here in the craft room. All right, I am going to be using, I believe some of these products are retired. This is from the January to April 2026 catalog, and this is current in our current May to August 2026 catalog. So this flowering metal bundle, actually it's part of a suite, is available currently in our online store. I saw, and I'm going to share with you a picture. Hold on a second. Let me just pop this up right here. You'll see it in the upper left-hand corner. So I saw this beautiful diamond easel card. I was looking for an easel card to make, and I was excited by this. Give me a minute, guys, just to make sure that I go ahead and I share this video so that other folks can enjoy it and share as well. Give me one moment and we'll be right back. Love to make sure that folks are chatting and interacting with me here live on YouTube. Just makes the time go by a little bit easier, a lot faster, and we just have a little bit more fun that way when we're able to interact with each other. If you are new to my channel, please take a moment to subscribe. If you are new follower, definitely take a moment to subscribe to my channel, like and share our videos. That way, more and more people will find us and they're able to interact with us here in the craft room. All right, so I've done a little bit of sharing. So now I am coming back to you live. So I'm going to share with you when I say I'm going to do two cards tonight. So this card the card base is based on a 6x12 piece of cardstock. Okay. Now, for me, primarily, I only buy white and black in 12x12 cardstock, right? But if you wanted to do a colored card base, you can still make this card. And that's the method I'm going to show you first tonight. If I have time, we're going to go back and create the card again using a white card base. All right. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew how to do the card base, because most of us here in the United States, we purchase 8.5x11 cardstock. That's generally our cardstock. And so we might still want to be able to create with this project. So let's go ahead and let me tell you what we're going to need for this project. Let me put these away. Hopefully, I have all these little piles built up, you guys. And I am always prayerful that they're not going to come sliding down on me, right? Okay, so here's what we're going to need. We're going to need a card base. Like I said before, card base is either going to be one piece that is 6x12, or you can create this using two pieces of the same cardstock. One is 6x6 and the other is 6.5x6. And I'm going to share with you what we do with that. So you'll need those two pieces. We will need 2 pieces of one color that's 4 1/4. I'm sorry, one piece that's 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, and this is our pretty peacock. This was peach pie. Then we're going to need 2 pieces that is 4 by 4. This is summer sky. This is a retired color. We're going to need 2 pieces of designer series paper. That's 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. And I am using paper from the Florals in Bloom set. Guys, I don't have my labels on this, so I'm not quite sure what year, if it's still available, but that is the cardstock that I will be using this evening, or the designer series paper. We're also going to need a piece of coordinating cardstock that is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then we're going to need a piece of designer series paper. And see, I forgot to cut that, so we'll have to cut that. That is 2 9/16 by 2 9/16. I'll cut that later, just to make sure, see which way I want to go by that. Then we'll need 2 pieces that's 2 3/4 by 5 3/4. We'll need 1 piece of designer series paper that is 2 5/8 by 5 5/8. And then we're going to need a piece of basic white that is 2 5/8 by 5 5/8. So we've got all of our parts and pieces. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to assemble our card base. And I think that's going to be the most quote unquote difficult part. So here I've already created a template, and I created the template purposely from 2 pieces of 6 by 6 so that I would have the measurements. When I put this away in my template folder, I will know exactly how I created this, if that makes sense. Okay. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is on the 6.5 by 6 piece of cardstock, on the 6.5 side, we are going to score either at 6, or we're going to score a 1/2 inch from any side. So if you put it on a scoreboard, you'll score at 6, or you can score at a 1/2. Either way, you will end up having a score line with a 1/2 inch on one side and 6 inches on the other. All right. And before we do anything with that, we're then going to miter our edge a little bit. We're going to cut from our score line, and we're going to notch it just a bit. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Mitering that way, it just reduces some of the bulk and just makes it easier for folding. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and burnish our fold. And when we burnish, here's our score line. We always fold towards away from the valley, and we fold towards the mountain. And we're going to burnish this pretty good. We want that to be relatively flat. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do, now this is our 6 by 6. We're going to put our adhesive. Now you want something that's relatively strong. So I would recommend you use liquid adhesive or double-sided tape. For me, I'm going to use liquid adhesive because I personally do need that extra wiggle room, that time. And so I will definitely be using liquid glue. Okay. And then we're just going to lay this on, making sure it's flushed with our corners, our score line, and even. Okay. Give that a good press. Make sure it's even. Oops. And by doing that, guys, we have created a piece that is 6 by 6. So if you do not have 6 by 12. So if you do not have 12 by 12 cardstock, like I don't have 12 by 12 cardstock in color, I have it in white and black, basic white and basic black. So in order to create this card base, I just went ahead, put those two together, and now I have a piece that is 12 by 12. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and reach for our scoreboard, and I'm going to bring out Stampin' Up scoreboard, the big daddy of scoreboards. Okay. And what we're wanting to do is we're going to make sure that we can, at the end of the day, we're going to hide this under the layers that we're going to mat. So in order to do that, we want this with the notch side facing left. And then we're going to score at 3 inches. Okay. And I'm just going to score so I can see. I'm blind, you guys. Not like legally or anything, but I find that I'm having a little bit of a challenge being able to see things. So I just have to make sure that my score line is pretty darn legible, that I can see it, right? Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn this on the 6-inch side, and we're just going to place a little mark. You can use a pencil, you can use, I'm going to use the scoreboard and place a little notch at 3 inches. Then I'm going to turn it on the other side. I'm going to place a notch at 3 inches. Then I'm going to turn it again, place this notch at 3 inches. And then 3 inches from here would be at the 9. Okay. So we should have a 3-inch notch on, we have a 3-inch score line, 3-inch notch, 3-inch notch, 3-inch notch, the score line, and then a 3-inch knot. Okay, notch. I keep saying knot, but notch. I think that's all the scoring that we're going to do for now, so we can go ahead and put our scoreboard away. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a trimmer. Grab the Stampin' Up trimmer. I practiced this with the guillotine earlier today, so we'll see how good I am with the paper trimmer. And we're going to put the notch, we're going to line up notch to notch in the grooves, and we're going to cut. I think we got it here. And one tip if you're cutting anything on a diagonal is you start on and then cut in both directions, okay? So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Put the notches in the grooves. I hope you can see. Oh no, that's too much light, right? Yeah, I got to turn that up, down. And then notches in the groove. And then we're going to cut again. So we'll have our first point, and then we're going to turn it and we're going to do the same thing. Only this side, we're going to use the score line as our 3-inch mark, and then the 3-inch notch on that side. Okay. Again, starting on cardstock. And don't throw these away. You might be able to do something with them, okay? The score line and the point, and then do the same thing. Perfect. So here we have our, oops. All right. So the next thing we want to do is we're going to fold on our score line. And you know, for score lines, we always keep that one here. We're going to score and we're going to fold this guy in. This time we're folding it towards the valley. Grab our, okay. All right, guys, and we're basically finished with our card base. Now we're going to go ahead and decorate. All right, let's bring our parts and pieces back in. So we have our piece of basic white, and we're going to mat it with our basic white, which is 2 5/8 by 5 5/8. And we're going to mat this with a piece that is 2 3/4 by 5 3/4. And we're going to place this right here, ensuring that we cover our join spot, right? Now, if we're going to stamp anything on the inside, now would be the time to do it. If you're not, that's fine as well. I generally don't. I leave all of that space for writing my message if I'm going to write a message. So I tend to leave it blank. Of course, you can stamp something faintly over it, like do second generation stamping or something, right? And then I'm going to adhere. All right. Perfect. All righty. I hope everybody had a wonderful day today. So we're going to try to leave a little bit of a border on both sides and the top of the top and bottom. Try to make sure it's even, or as even as we can get them to be. Perfect. We're going to put this side over here. Going to adhere our designer series paper. And again, this is 2 5/8 by 5 5/8 on the designer series paper. And we'll go ahead and I like fun folds a lot. You know why? I think generally I find that fun folds, it's not a lot of stamping. You do use a lot of designer series paper, or pattern paper, if that's what you call it. Or if you create your own background cardstock, then you can use that as well. I've been doing a lot of stenciling lately where I've created my own background. So that's something that I have been doing quite a bit lately. Okay. So we've got this on here. Perfect. Now I think when we're finished with this card, what did I do with the rest of them, the parts and pieces? Okay, here they are, I think. So, nope, that's not it. Here we go. I'm like, I know that's not it. All right. So we're going to adhere one of our panels. Now, be careful with this particular part, because if your designs are directional, you'll have, this is going to be on a diagonal, you probably should pay attention to how you're cutting this from the very beginning. when I do cards, I like to, you know, with Stampin' Up, the designer series paper is front and back. And even though every single panel, every single design, you can make them work together, I generally, if it's a back and front, I put the back with the back and the front with the front. I generally don't mix and match my papers in the suite collection, in the paper designer series paper pack. I find my sense of, you know, making sure that they actually coordinate sometimes is a little lacking for me. And so I don't really do it that often. I would probably tell you that I don't do it at all, but that would be an out and out falsehood that I don't do it at all. Again, in this particular instance, because it's a 4x4, it doesn't matter which way I put them on. I mean, when I'm attaching them, because I can always adjust them the way I need them to be adjusted. Okay. This is going to go onto this. Now, again, I'm just following the instructions or the guides from Thierry. I watched her video. She does have a corresponding video for her blog. And I find that it was relatively easy to follow. Really didn't have any issues. So if you wanted to check it out, you're more than welcome to. Again, I believe her handle is stampingmagic.com. So you might be able to find her there. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to attach our matted layers to our card base. And guys, you'll see that that's how easy this fun fold is. Don't worry about remembering any of the dimensions, sorry. I'm going to go ahead and put them on my blog. And you should be able to find all of that information on the blog. Okay, so we're also going to try to make sure that we keep this matted and layered so that we are even, or as even as we can get it on both sides before we press into place. And then we're going to do the same. Now, the floral piece right here, I think it'll work either way. It's just because the flowers are kind of going in multiple different directions. So in my mind, I said this is not directional, and I was okay with what we had. Okay? And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to layer this right on here like so. And just keep in mind, we only need adhesive on this half. So I am going to go ahead and put adhesive only on the base. Okay. Just to make sure that I don't, put glue where it's not needed, I'm going to make sure that I only put adhesive on the card base. And then I'm going to attach it like so. Right. Making sure we have our little borders. And that's done. And our card's basically done. Now we go ahead. Now we get to make our easel element and our little sentiments for the card. All right, let's see what we're going to use. Oh, we should have, you can also put some card designer series paper here. Or you could put another piece of basic white. If your message goes a little bit long, you can mat that and put that on the back. I think for tonight on this one, we are just now going to stamp an image. And I think, let's see, so I decided I was going to play, like I told you, with either, do you want to see me use the current? I haven't used this one at all, Beautifully Celebrated. So I think I'm going to use Beautifully Celebrated. I think I am. Because I really haven't used it, and I want to make sure. I love the fact, and I love to play and use my things, right? And besides, if we don't like it, we can always change things. That is the beauty of stamping. See? Another one that I did not use. I know, I did this last time. I thought, sometimes you just don't realize how many of your things you don't use or you haven't used. I want to be able to use all of my things. That's why we buy them, because we like them, right? Look at that. I love it when things work the way I want them to work. I think everybody does, right? I'm just going to clean them up a little bit. Well, the good thing about doing your stamps this way, at least this is what I tell myself, right? I will know that I've stamped every last stamp in this set at least once. Even if it was just to get it on the card, the sleeve, I will have stamped every last stamp in all these sets. I know. All right, so we are almost finished with our first card. When we make cards from on the fly, and it's about a fun fold, it's all about for us creating the fold, right? The making the card is secondary, I guess would be the term. I think I want to go with this one. Let's grab a block. we're going to grab our Memento black ink. And I'm grabbing Memento because I plan on coloring with alcohol markers. And Memento is best for coloring with alcohol markers. I most oftentimes will stamp with the what's it called? I'm gonna do both, I think. With VersaFine Clair, and then from that I would heat set it. I do that as well, but I am going to play with the Memento Black for this project. And then when you're wanting to put them back, you kind of know how they're supposed to be because you have an image. And then you close it and it goes right back where it's supposed to be. I can't believe I did not think about that myself. I just can't believe it. Right? I can't. But I did not think about that myself. I saw it from another demonstrator. And I was just like, why did I mean, I could have kicked myself. I was just, why didn't I think about that? I don't know. I don't know why I didn't think about it, but I didn't. All right. So we're going to go ahead and stamp this here. Okay. I'm finding that I'm having to put things back almost immediately once I stamp them because I'll wait for a little bit and then I'll completely forget what stamp set or what die or anything, and I lose it. So I am having to be very mindful of those types of things. All right, so let's take a look and see. We used Summer Splash as our green, and we used Pretty Peacock. So that's kind of what I'm going to use in coloring my leaves. I'm going to use the Summer Splash Dark and Light. And I think I have Pretty Peacock in, but I'm going to use Pretty Peacock in the light. I want to use the dark. That might be a little too dark. Might be a little too dark. Okay, so make sure I grab the light. And I'm just going to follow that line. I'm not doing any kind of intense coloring here today. Not at all. Most often time, my style of coloring is I color with the light color first, and then I go in and add my highlight area, and then I will blend from there. But for whatever reason, on this project, I'm working light to dark, if that makes sense. So we had the dark Pretty Peacock. So now I'm adding the light But you can color whatever makes sense to you, the way you color, and that's how you should color your images. Just because I color in a specific way. Welcome. Thanks for joining me this evening. Drop a little note, say hello, let me know who you are, where you're watching from. Okay, then I'm going to go in with the light. And we're going to go over the whole thing. And we'll just see the diffusion of color. Between light, dark, our highlighting. And if we need to go back and add some shades of some highlights, then we can go ahead and go back and add more color. Like I think this one right here needs to add a little bit more, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay. I think this one, that needs to be that. And these are some things that you'll see as you're adding color. There is no rhyme, there is no reason. It just, when you see it, you'll know it, and that's what you do to adjust, okay? That's light. I'll go back and blend, because now we need to blend that out a little bit more. We did it here. We did it here. We did it here. And we did it here. Okay. Now when this dries back, you'll see the difference in coloring. Okay. Okay, that's what we're going to do for that one. And then we're going to grab our peaches and we're going to add some peach colors on this. And this coloring will go fast because the images are so small that really there's not much to highlight, right? And you can try to if you'd like, but there's really not a lot of room to do a lot of shading, a lot of coloring, or anything like that. See how quickly this is colored? Again, it's just really tiny. Good. Perfect. I need to add a little bit more right there. And that's going to be, what color are we going with that? This is my Wild Wheat Stampin' Blend. Wild Wheat is retired. But if you can get your hands on it, it's definitely a good one to have in your inventory. As it makes, I found that it was perfect for like the tree stalks, not tree stalk, but like leafery So I thought it was perfect for those types of things. So I will keep that one for specifically for that part, that purpose as well. Like I loved cinnamon cider for that very reason. That was also a good one. Um, so they're just some colors that you hang on to because they make sense for whatever project you may or may not. Like grass has, I love Granny Apple Green, Parakeet Party for green, for grass. And so those types of things, for those reasons, I will never get rid of them, those colors. Of course, I also have the, I also have the ink pads and so on and so forth. So for me, who generally loves doing, loves having my quote unquote, my kits, yeah, I probably would not get rid of those. All right, all my stamp sets are back. Yes. So we're done with the stamp sets for now. I thought there was like a splotch in there. So I'm going to use the dies now. Oh, okay. They don't have dies. I thought they had coordinating dies for those. See, that's what happens when you don't look. Anyway, it's easy enough. It's fairly easy enough. I'm going to just do a quick fussy cut. Again, don't bother to, I mean, you can if you want to. If you had written down the measurements, I am going to put this on my blog. So you will be able to find the measurements on my blog. I will have the blog live in a couple of days. I will not guarantee you that it'll be up tomorrow. No, I can't guarantee you that. I got to write it first. You would think that I had already done that, but no. Let me tell you how I come up with my Wednesday projects, right, guys? There's like no science to it, right? While I'm on break at work or something, I will generally take a look. I'll be on my phone while I'm on my break, and I'll check. I'll be checking in on Pinterest. I'll be checking in on Split Coast Stampers. Those places that I normally check. And that's the day of, that's Monday. And that's when I will see a project or a card that I like, a fun fold, and I'll be like, oh, I want to make that. Wouldn't that make a great Make It Monday video? And that, in truth, my friends, is how I pick what projects I'm going to work on. There is no science. There is no rhyme. There is no reason. It's what I like, but generally I find it the day of. All right, so we're almost done fussy cutting this one. Okay. Alrighty. As you can see, fussy cutting and talking do not generally work well for me. So, yeah. So you got to excuse me for a little bit. while I'm fussy cutting this out, because I can't really talk very much while I'm trying to fussy cut. I will cut something off, and I don't want to cut anything off. Unless it's meant to be cut off. And I don't think anything is meant to be cut off right now. Right? Okay. Almost done. I'm excited. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with this, but I do want to have some additional floral elements on the card, even though the designer series paper is beautiful as is. I just need to add a little bit more something to it. Okay. What do you think about the diamond easel fold so far? Will you try it? Guys, I would love for you to try these cards that I'm making, and if you do try them, please share them with me. The link to my my VIP, my Facebook page, is in the description. When you do create that, you'll see a post that says Make It Monday for today's date. Go ahead and pop your design, your project on that page under that comment, and share with me what you've created. I would love to see it. I know there are oodles and oodles of creative people out there, and I'm hoping that that you will have enjoyed this fun fold as much as I do, and you will want to give it a shot. Okay. All right, so this is flower number 1. I know you got to bear with me again. This one might be a little bit faster. Just a little bit. Not as much detail, I don't think. One of the things, the tips for fussy cutting, I always give this tip when I'm fussy cutting. Make sure that you're not moving the hand that's wielding the snips. For me, that happens to be my dominant hand. So I try not to move my dominant hand. I move the paper hand, which is my non-dominant hand. And I let the cardstock, I let the left hand do all the movement. And all I do with the right hand is make sure the blade stays where it needs to be. I find for me that when I do it that way, and for me, that tip, I'm fairly consistent with my border. If I do it any other way, if I get lazy and I try moving the snips instead, I find I'm generally either too far off or too wide. I have a little bit of a border. I've cut something off that I didn't mean to cut off, that kind of thing. So that's just my tip. And for fussy cutting, sometimes it doesn't mean you always have to go into every nook and cranny. Because as you can see, I'm going into some and not others. It all depends on what look you are wanting to achieve. Hi, and welcome to the craft room. If you are new to my channel, thank you for stopping in. I do know that you have your choice of creators that you can watch and who to spend your time with. The fact that you are choosing to spend any of your time with me today, I am really, really appreciative of that fact. Pop on into the comments, say hi, and let me know where you're watching from. And I would really like to know how you found me. Did you follow the link that I had on my YouTube, my Facebook page? Were you searching YouTube? How did you find the craft room? All right, we're almost done fussy cutting with this. All right. Perfect. Okay. Let's see. Anything else I need to refine? I need to refine this part a bit. Just a bit. Boom. All right, let's go ahead and clean this part up. All right, I've had an idea as to what I want to do for my easel mechanism, as well as, so the set has beautifully celebrated, has these awesome label dies in here. So I am going to use these. Okay, so I'm going to use the third from the middle, or the third largest, or the third smallest. Is that right? 1, 2, 3. It's the fourth smallest. I don't know if that's the way you count them or not. Right? And I'm going to use the smallest label, because that's going to be my mechanism, my easel mechanism. All right, so the first thing I want to do with this guy is I'm going to grab another piece of basic white cardstock, and I'm going to do a little ink blending. Okay. Okay, there it are. I couldn't find it for a second. All right. So I'm going to grab my peach pie, because that is the color that I've been using. And I'm going to add, I'm just going to blend lightly from the middle and then blend out. That's kind of good. It's about the size that we want it to be. We'll go a little bit more outside just because I want to make sure that it's all included. Okay, and then I'm going to grab a stencil. Move this guy out of the way. I'm going to grab a little bit of, what color do I want to grab? I think this is Darling Duckling that I put in a spritz bottle. And then I'm just going to spritz it. Let that dry a little bit before I lift up the stencil. Let's hope we've got a good image on there. Let that dry for a second. Yeah, I think I can see it. Can you see the pattern forming in there? It's very subtle. It's not overly in your face. I'm going to go ahead and dry it with the heat tool. Oops. Can you see it now? The texture? Okay, good. Perfect. All right. Let that dry. Okay. Then I'm going to add some splatter because I don't do anything without splattering these days. Let's go with I think what might not get lost in there. Guys, these are just some paint pots that I got. I think these were from Hobby Lobby. Yeah. So it's nothing elaborate, nothing expensive. No. And I buy them, the artist loft ones that are on sale when they go on sale. Boom. Do a little bit of splatter. Okay. Alrighty, we are almost done. Let that dry, and then we're going to run this through the die cutting machine. Okay. Probably going to put the heat tool on this again. And again, I'm primarily using the heat tool just to make it heat faster. Can you see the texture on it? Can you see the... Oh, look at that, right? Okay. Just wanted it to dry a little bit faster. I'm going to put our label die on here. I am going to trim this down. And I'm going to trim it down because I just want to be able to, I'm going to be able to use the, mini die cut machine, mini Stampin' Emboss machine. Okay. But I got to trim it down because it won't fit through otherwise. I would say the mouth of the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is about 4 inches wide. That's what I would probably say it is. So I've got to trim this down in order for it to fit through the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Alrighty. Oops. I am a righty, so that has to go that way for me. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to go ahead now and I'm going to layer these. I'm going to use that for a little bit of grounding, but I'm going to wait. I don't like all that in there. Now that I see how I'm going to put this on here, I need to remove a lot of this because I don't like this extra white space in there. I don't. I just want to kind of get a little bit closer of a cut. All right, there we go. That looks better. I think I might want to do this side as well. That. Oftentimes when I'm stamping on the fly, our videos tend to be a little bit longer because I'm creating as I go. Probably should try to get in there too, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. Not without using a cutting blade. See, that's gone. So I just try to get as much as I can. Okay, I think that might work now. So what I want to do, so we have our flower here. And this guy is going to be right here as our focal. Well, maybe we just need one. Oh, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to do one here. Well, that might be nice. Okay. Another change in plan. Do you see how plans change? Yeah, we're going to do a little bling on here. Okay. Okay, so, and on here, all right, so let's go ahead and add a little bit of dimension. I'm going to grab my foam strips. I think that might definitely work best. At least for this part. All right, let's see what we got going on here. We're going to have you run straight from the top. All right. Okay. So we used that until it was done. And then I'm going to grab another strip. put a little bit of strip here. I think we're doing good, you guys. I like this card. It was fast. It was fairly fast, fairly easy. We might not get to the second, but I will do the second card, and I will post that in the blog so that you can see. It'll look exactly the same. The colors might be a little bit different. But I did create this using 2 pieces of cardstock to create my 12 by 6 base instead of a piece that was exactly 12 by 12. 12 by 6. If you do not have 12 by 12 paper cardstock, you can still create this card using the method that I showed you in this video. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead now, and still got a sentiment to do. Yes, we do. We're not 100% finished yet. So let's just grab these. Tomorrow's trash day in this neighborhood. It is. Put the trash out already. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put this across like that. This is going to go on our card like so. So our center image. And I believe I will probably more than likely create my own envelope for this, but it might be able to fit in a I don't think so, because it's still a 6-inch, right? But we'll find out in just a second if it'll fit in a regular envelope, but you might need to make our own envelope for it, which is not that bad. Sometimes it's better to make your own envelope. I get to break out a lot of the recollections. One of the things I will not ever do, you will hardly ever see me use my Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper to create envelopes. I just probably will never do that. I love I just can't see using my Designer Series paper for it. Not everyone is of that mindset, but I just won't do it. No. All right. So when this lays down, it'll be just like that. I'm going to close it before I adhere this part. All right, here we go. And we're going to lay this right on here. Oops, not centered. Make sure it's centered. Got that going on right there. And now we just need our little I was going to use this, and I still might. I still will. Not that I might. I will. Right? I'm just going to do something very, very simple on here. Right? Oops. Before I do that. Okay, there we go. That will fit in there. It will. I make so many floral cards. I've got to increase my stash of masculine birthday cards. Okay. All right, guys, I am about to wrap this up. I'm going to stamp sentiment. Yes, I'm going to stamp and heat emboss probably. This one from the Flowering Meadows bundle, or suite, because it is a suite. And there's a sentiment that says thanks. So I'm going to grab my thanks. Oh, that's a little small. I think this one, this entire sentiment might fit. Let's see. No, it's too big. It's too big. I have my block out here somewhere. Alrighty. All right, we are almost done, folks. I know I said that like 3 times, but we are. Except for a little bit of embellishing. Our card is practically finished. Because I'm going to heat emboss on that. Making sure I get plenty of ink on here. Okay. Center it. Make my thanks just a little right there. Make sure I have good transfer. Perfect. Yes, we have perfect transfer. Grab a piece of paper. Grab some gold embossing powder. Oops. Okay. Add our powder back into the container. And we can go ahead and heat emboss this and finish up our card. All right. And then I'm just going to grab a piece of foam tape. And I'm going to put this towards the bottom. That's the bottom. And the reason I'm putting it towards the bottom is so that the point has somewhere to go, but it won't get stuck to the adhesive, right? If it's at the top. So I'm going to put it towards the bottom, like so. Maybe put some on the sides, just a little bit on the sides. That. Like that. Perfect. Awesome. Now you're going to have to kind of play with this, right? Because when you want this to stay open, all right, I should not have taken that off just yet. This will kind of help you to position your sentiment. Right? And so here we go. Here we've got our diamond easel card. I think we did a darn good job today, guys. All right, I am going to finish the other one. I'm just not going to be able to do it with you here tonight. Well, I might be able to stick this guy in here. I don't know. We'll see. So thanks again for joining us, guys. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And also don't forget to invite your crafty friends to pop on over and like and subscribe as well. Again, I am Caron Bailey. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin Up. And thanks for joining me here in the craft room. Good night. Have a good evening.